Hello again, VC. It's Steve again here. It's doing another video on Sunday, the 11th of December. I'm looking to put this one out in a couple of days' time. This is more of my latest vinyl, recent finds. This particular find is part of a big stash that I managed to find a couple of weeks back. Rather lucky that I mentioned about in the last video about St Giles. I went in on the last day they traded and managed to get some records from there really cheap. Some not in better condition than others, some without covers. But also, I went down then to Pete at Cyclotron Records, and he was in the middle of sorting out this big collection that he had, but a lot of it he felt he couldn't sell. Pretty much what he got anyhow, and it would be clogging up his stands. So he knew I volunteered at my local Oxfam, so he allowed me to take some up, and I managed to sort some that I wanted for myself, some that I don't think we could sell. So for a minimal fee, I had those as well. So quite a lot of albums. So I'm going to start off with this collection. First up is 12-inch single. It's The Alarm. It's their debut single, 68 Guns. Quite a lot of hype surrounded the Alarm when they first came out. Obviously, it had the look. It was like post-punk. It was mainly acoustic guitars. The cover's not in great nick, but plays. I was happy to have that. Right, I'm going to be careful how I show this. It'll be a quick one. Okay, it's the soundtrack to Emmanuel. That was donated to Oxfam. There's no way he was ever going to go. So I thought, you know what, I'll take it off their hands. And yes, Sylvia Crystal, God bless her, was a mighty fine looking woman. And I haven't seen the film for a long while. So I'll have to be said. Next up, it's the Bangles. Really good copy of everything. It's even got a poster. Let me just quickly show the poster. There you go. And this album came out '88, and yes, this is the one that's got Eternal Flame on it. It's not, mind you, not as good. It's polished, don't get me wrong, but it's not as good as A Different Light. It has to be said. I think, and I've seen recently, obviously, the Record Store Day in the States. Recently, we've seen the album featuring the Bangles' early stuff, where they were heavily 60s influence. And yes, you could see, as they become more popular, it became more polished. There is some good songs on there. In Your Room I liked, and quite a bit of psychedelic hint into that. But yes, it became very more poppy and very more focused on Susanna Hoffs, which I could see why. They sort of imploded not long after. These I was really happy to find. They're not in the greatest of nick, but I got paid £1. They're mono copy of Help. And a mono copy of Rubber Soul. I won't say they're not in greatest nick. The covers are of Seen Better Days. Also the records, they've got a few little scratches and nicks on them. But I was really happy to pick them up. They played, and I think the reason why they play, if I again get the vinyl out, is a big difference between, say, the Bangles album and this. This album is actually really solid. This album, and heavy the weight, and I think that sort of helps a little bit more. That's probably why the 180 gram vinyl format works, because I think it makes the records last that little bit longer. It's only my opinion. I'm no great expert. I'm a fan. I like to buy records. I'm not get this back in. I'm not a great expert when it comes to weights and pressings and all that. So maybe somebody could explain it all to me one day. Another Beatles record I picked up again for £1. It's the Love Songs album, which was a staple in the 60s. In the 70s. Um, yeah, and I think most people in the vinyl community have probably heard of it or got it. Next up, I've got a couple of albums from Pat Benatar. This is Tropico. This has got Love Is a Battlefield on it. What else? We Belong. That was a particularly big single in the UK. Love Is a Battlefield. I think again, it was a big single in America. I think they had a quite good video to it at the time. And we're talking here now, MTV videos suddenly took over. Suddenly it was about the image, and Pat Benatar's image had slightly changed from being like the rock chick to, you know, with the hair and everything. So yeah, I was at a place to get that, and again, great Nick. And then Seven the Hard Way, and this has got my favourite Pat Benatar track on it, Sex as a Weapon. I just love that song. Again, it's very 80s sounding, no surprise. But yeah, not a bad album. It's produced by Neil Girardo, her husband. Yeah, I like it. Does it got her own version of Seven Rooms of Gloom, which I'm not too sure about, but you know, it's a good one. Good album. This, considering how old it is, I'm quite pleased out what Nick have got it. And yes, you may laugh at me, Boney M's Night Flight to Venus, but in '78 it was one of the biggest selling albums in the UK. Gatefold, Mighty Fine Looking People, and practically every song on the album became a single in some form. You've got Rasputin. You've got to talk a little bit of history, bit of history with that. Painter Man. Now, which was originally called by The Creation, and the reason I think this appeared on the album is The Creation. It was a big single in Germany, and Frank Farian, German. I think it was one of his favourites. They even got a version of King of the Road on there, which I will skate over that. But the big songs, Rivers of Babylon, Brown Girl in the Ring. And then finish it off, really, with a cover of Neil Young's Heart of Gold. Something for everybody, but I was really pleased with that. It's actually, for what it is, for pop, it's a good album. Graham Bonnet's lineup. This he recorded after leaving Rainbow, and it came out in 1981. Featured a whole load of people: Cozy Powell, John Ward, Mick Moody, Gary Twig on bass, and he had a big top 10 single with Night Games on there. It's quite amazing. He got Graham Bonnet ended up with the heavy rock because he doesn't like that music at all. It's not his bag. He originally was a single with the Marbles, had a big single with Only a Woman, and then he sort of went quiet for a little bit, and then he ended up in Rainbow because Richie Blackmore remembered what a great voice he got. And then after this, he went to he had a poor spell with the Michael Schenker group, and then he formed Alcatraz. And he's sort of like I think he's getting releasing some new stuff very shortly. So I'll look forward to if I can hunt that down and find that out, because he's got a great voice, Graham Bonnet, I have to say. Sadly, this record is unplayable, which is a shame. But then again, sometimes this is what you get. Sometimes you find something in the pound bins. Bowie's Diamond Dogs. I will look for another copy. This will probably end up going on the wall. Shame, but I have got it on CD and all that. You know, sometimes you just get a little bit more. Sometimes you do take a chance when you pay for a pound single. They're pound for a reason, as I've said before. And this time it just isn't really playable. So we'll look for another copy. Band from the early 80s. This is Bow Wow Wow. This is the sort of like a compilation album. I Want Candy, I think is what it's called. What's it called again? I Want Candy is the name of the album. It's a compilation. It's got I Want Candy on it. Strangely, it doesn't have Go Wild in the Country, which was their big single. but it does have the debut C60C, C30, C60, C90 Go. Louis XIVs, that caused a bit of a stink at the time because it was going on about underage sex, and we were talking about this in the 80s. Given what's gone on now and all in the news, and Annabelle Lewin, she's only the same age as me. She was about 15 at the time, but she was posing like that. And then the Go Wild in the Country, she's recreated a Cézanne painting when she's totally naked, the one with the picnic scene, I think. And yeah, I was to say she was only 16 at the time. And I think now we'll never be allowed to get away with that, to be quite honest. This is the Bonzo Dog Band. This is the Donut in Granny's Greenhouse. This is a reissue on Sunset Records. And this is probably stuff that came from the early stuff produced by Gus Dudgeon. Hasn't got Urban Spaceman on it, but it's got Can Blue Men Sing the Whites, Do the Trouser Press. Yeah, the Trouser Press, Moustache Daughters. It's very much of its time. I think some of it has aged well, some of the humour's aged well, some of it hasn't. Bronski Beat Age of Consent, their debut album from '84. It's the only album that featured Jimmy Somerville, and I think this sort of suffered because they were probably one of the first bands to have all members who were gay, and it was quite open about it. Nothing hiding. Some of the songs reflect that. Small Town Boy. Why? Obviously they did a version of I Feel Love. And I think the pressure got to Jimmy Somerville a little bit, and whether he had a falling out with the rest of the band. And he left, and he formed the Communards not long after. Bronski Beat did carry on with another vocalist, but they had another single, Hit the Perfect Beat, but they sort of dropped off towards the end. Final record in this batch. Now this is a staple of charity shops everywhere. This is Elkie Brooks, Pearls. Now, Elkie Brooks, been singing since the 60s. She was in Vinegar Joe with Robert Palmer. Very fine band, and in fact there's some old Grey Whistle clips you might be able to find on YouTube or just find on the internet. Really fine bands. Got a fine set of lungs as Elkie Brooks. On here, this is a mixture of stuff that she's done and like covers. It's got her version of Superstar by Carpenters. Fool If You Think It's Over. Sunshine After the Rain. Lilac Wine. I think her version is superior to Jeff Buckley's. You probably disagree with me, but I think it's much better. Her first hit single, Pearls of Singer, it's an absolute great song, that is. Don't Cry Out Loud, that's another big single she had. And there's Elkie at the back. Please, I picked this up because this is in actually excellent condition. Quite a lot of the charity shop stuff is sort of like left, I wouldn't say to rot, but they're just put out and just somebody hopes that they'll fly out. But great song. So that ends this video. Thank you for all those that have subscribed. 32 subscribers now. Press the like button or dislike button. I'm always welcome to hear your comments, and just enjoy the rest of the day. Keep listening to the music. Take care. Keep smiling.